Winter is coming and the weather has been so gloomy recently, so I was thinking about something that can brighten up my days, and I chose to make a colorful rainbow roll cake. It's not very difficult to make this cake. What we need to do is first to make the batter for a roll cake, then we separate them into different portions and mix the color in. Pipe the colorful batters into the baking pan and voila, we have a beautiful rainbow roll cake batter. The only one thing that we need to be careful about when we make this cake is that not to deflate the batter too much when we mix the colors in. However, this can be solved with a simple tip, and I'm gonna share this tip with you in this tutorial. We begin with preparing our baking pan. Put a large sheet of parchment paper into the pan and then use your fingers to mark the edges of the bottom of the pan. Then make small cuts at the corners of the paper. This helps the parchment paper to line in the pan more easily. Next, we grease the pan with a small piece of butter, which helps the paper to stick better to the pan. And finally, put the parchment paper into the pan and lay it evenly. For the yolk mixture, we first separate the eggs into yolks and whites and put them into two different bowls. Then in the bowl of the yolks, sift in 20 grams of sugar and whisk until the sugar has dissolved. Then add to this bowl 40 milliliters milk, 40 grams of oil, and half a teaspoon of vanilla. Whisk until it will have a very nice and smooth mixture. And finally, we sift into the bowl 30 grams of flour and 30 grams of cornstarch. Mix very well until everything is incorporated and we have a very fine and smooth mixture like in the video. And now we turn to the egg whites. First, whip the egg whites with a little salt at the lowest speed for about 1 or 2 minutes. We stop the mixture when we see a lot of large bubbles in the bowl, and this is the time that we add in the cream of tartar or substitutes for cream of tartar. Continue beating the egg whites until the bubbles become much smaller and very foamy like in the video. Then we start adding sugar little at a time. When all of the sugar has been added, we set the speed at the highest and continue beating for about 3 to 5 minutes. As we beat the egg whites, we will see that the egg white turns bigger in terms of volume and it also looks glossier. When the egg white reaches soft peak as in the video, reduce the speed to medium and continue beating until the egg white reaches stiff peak. The next step is to fold the egg whites into the yolk mixture. First, take about 1/3 of the beaten egg whites, add into the bowl of the yolk mixture and gently mix it. This mixing step helps loosen the yolk mixture and makes it a lot easier for us to fold in the remaining of egg whites. Then get another portion of egg whites, put it into the yolk mixture and gently fold it in. Try to be as gentle as possible because we don't want to deflate the egg whites and lose all of the air bubbles inside the white, which is the most important factor that makes the cake soft and fluffy. When we finish, the batter should be very foamy and light like in the video. Divide the batter into 5 portions. If you like, you can use a scale like I do here, and in this case, each portion of batter is about 75 to 85 grams. Then get the food colors ready. Mine are the icing colors from Wilton and I choose red, yellow, green, blue and purple for my rainbow. Get about 1 tablespoon of cake batter and add it into a separate bowl. Then get some food color and mix it well with this cake batter. Add this colorized batter pack and fold gently. I prefer this way than adding the color directly into the cake batter, as the color was mixed with a small amount of cake batter in advance. It is a lot easier to fold and mix it with the remaining batter. Also, since we don't need to fold too much to incorporate the color, the batter is not deflated a lot, which guarantees a fluffy and soft cake afterwards. Take a large piping bag, put it into a glass, then pour the cake batter in. When finished, squeeze the bag and we have the first color for our rainbow cake. We do the same with the remaining colors and the cake batter. Cut the tip of the piping bag for about 1 to 1.5 centimeters. Then pipe the cake batter onto the cake pan, each color one line. As I still have some batter left after the first round, I decided to add it to the batter that is already in the pan. When the cake is done, get it out of the pan and pull the paper away from its edges. Lay a clean towel on the cake and use a rag to help flip it over. Remove the parchment paper completely and let the cake cool down. When the cake is still a little bit warm, put it onto a parchment paper with the side that has the pale colors up. Then trim up the edges of the cake because its edges are normally very dry and they will crack when we roll the cake. Spread a generous amount of cream onto the cake and then put the fruit fillings on the cream. These fruit fillings are optional and you can choose any kinds of fruits you like. Here I use mangoes, pineapples, and canned cherries. Then gently roll the cake over. Finally, wrap the roll up with cling film and put it into the fridge for at least 4 hours.